The drama in Congress continues. Moments ago, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy talking to the press. Today, House Republicans met behind closed doors to discuss the future of his job as Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz filed a motion to oust the Speaker. Gaetz also just told the press within the last 15 minutes or so an update on his status. Here's what he shared.
Clearly somebody's been lied to, because we heard the president come out and say there was a deal with the speaker on Ukraine, and the speaker just stood up in front of all of us and said that there's no deal on Ukraine. The House Democrats say there's a deal on Ukraine, so we're going to have to sort that out. We're going to have to sort out who's lying, because somebody's lying about whether or not, as in this CR negotiation, there was a secret side deal on Ukraine funding. We'll see.
Do you think this motion will succeed?
Okay, Gaetz would need 218 votes to successfully remove Kevin McCarthy from the speakership. The congressman says he believes he has those votes. Gaetz also said that the decision was based on what he views as McCarthy's refusal to adhere to the concessions made to hardline members in order to win their votes to elect him speaker at the start of the year. A vote could come as soon as today. Joining me now to talk more about it, Republican strategist Boyd Matheson. He's also a former chief of staff for Senator Mike Lee and host of Inside Sources on KSL. All right, so battle brewing. I mean, the battle, like, it's on, right? Kevin McCarthy says bring it, but he also said a moment ago, keeping the government open and avoiding a shutdown was critical. And he said, if I lose my job because of it, so be it. The day before, he said, bring on the fight. Are you sensing a change in tone? Does he feel threatened in your eyes that he may lose his seat?
You know, I actually love what the speaker just said. I think that's such an important thing. It's actually something I would always use as a question to vet candidates before they ran, and that is, would it be worth it to you to accomplish something if you lost your job in the process? And that's exactly what Kevin McCarthy just said, is that keeping the government open, paying the troops, doing the will of the American people, even if it costs me my job, that's still the right thing to do. So I actually commend Speaker McCarthy for that. I think the palace intrigue and everything that Representative Gaetz is bringing on is really just indicative of the problem of our broken politics in the country. In rich irony and something you couldn't even write in Hollywood, even if there wasn't a strike, is this idea that Matt Gaetz is saying, I have to do this motion to vacate the chair because Speaker McCarthy made a deal with Democrats to get the CR passed. And what Matt Gaetz is now doing is dealing with Democrats to try to get rid of Kevin McCarthy. So pretty rich irony there that he's going to try to oust Kevin McCarthy for working with Democrats while he's working with Democrats to try to oust Kevin McCarthy. So pretty rich there. And sadly, that undermines the very thing that Kevin McCarthy just spoke to, which is the trust in the institution of the House. We know that trust is at an all-time low in our institutions, especially in Congress. This doesn't help. You know, we are exactly 45 days away from the next version of the shutdown showdown. And all of this is just theatrics and palace intrigue. It's doing nothing to move forward the will of the people. Matt Gaetz ought to be on the floor of the House saying, hey, I actually have a plan to fund the government. I have a plan to do this. The other irony, Marni, is that Mr. Gaetz doesn't have anyone to put forward as a replacement speaker. So there's no plan there. He's not putting himself forward. And so to me, this all goes to what Senator Ben Sasse from Nebraska used to call performative jackassery. It's performative politics. And Mr. Gaetz is really good at chaos and stirring the pot and getting all of this side and shiny object stuff. But he's not advancing anything for the people he represents. He's also hindering the ability of Congress to do the job and do the will of the American people.
Right, and it's also why the trust and the view of Congress right now is at such a low, Boyd. So a couple options for Speaker McCarthy right now: hold a majority vote to table a resolution, or he could also refer it to a committee of his allies. What do you see happening over the next 24 hours?
Yeah, I think the next 24 hours will be really interesting. I think the messaging that Kevin McCarthy just came out with is indicative that he's pretty confident in where he is. And so whether that is to table or whether that's to move it to committee, my guess is I think he's confident that he could actually get the votes and get that done, because it does just seem so performative. So that's my hunch, is that he'll go with the vote as opposed to sending it to a committee, because I think the bigger thing is let's get this done and decided, because there are really important things that need to be done, including funding for Ukraine, including the border security, including figuring out how Congress actually does their job in terms of funding the government, not 45 days at a time, but doing it in regular order.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.